Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Wednesday, the 23rd of August. Good to have you aboard. Presented as always by our title sponsor, Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. They've been our title sponsor since before we even debuted the show. Title sponsor of everything ZASLOW Show 2.0, including It's Still Real to Me wrestling podcast every weekend. So again, if you have a personal injury, if you were in an accident, first you call 911, then you call Anidjar and Levine. Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. So glad you're with us here in the middle of the week. We got the final Dolphins preseason game this Saturday night. We're in college football week 0. You know I hate that, the week 0. That's like when the NCAA tournament was doing the play-in games on the Tuesday night when they were calling that the first round. No, they changed it. Now, I don't know what they're going to do about this. I think it's week 0 for good. And so you got a couple of high-profile games this weekend, but it is a college football game week. Thanks to everybody who's been hanging out with me on ESPN Radio. I got a gig doing ESPN Radio weekends, but I've been lucky enough. I debuted hosting Primetime this past Saturday and Sunday, and I was lucky enough. Ian Fitzsimmons, he was supposed to do Afternoon Drive this week. He was supposed to fill in on Canty and Carlin, which is Afternoon Drive, ESPN Radio, 3 to 7 p.m. He's under the weather, so I got the call after doing just a couple days debuting on ESPN Radio Saturday and Sunday. I got the call to do Monday and Tuesday. So for the last couple of days, I've done Afternoon Drive on ESPN Radio, filling in for Canty and Carlin. I've done 4 straight days overall on ESPN Radio. I've had a great time. The producers have made it easy on me. Everyone has made me feel welcome. So I'm really pleased to be, part of the team there. ESPN. I mean, come on, crazy, right? And I feel like I'm doing my thing. You know, I'm not trying to be something that I'm not. I'm doing ZASLOW on ESPN Radio. So for those of you guys who tuned in, I love it. I appreciate you. If we have some new listeners because I was on ESPN Radio, now you're listening to ZASLOW Show 2.0. That's amazing. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your mother I say hello. And certainly, if you didn't know that I was on ESPN Radio, I'd like you to start listening, all right? That would be amazing. I'm filling in again for Canty and Carlin on Friday, 3 to 7 p.m. So after doing 4 straight days on ESPN, I get a little reprieve. We're doing double duty. Obviously, ZASLOW Show 2.0, which is the main thing. It's always going to be the main thing. I'm 305 till I die. Miami, number 1 always, all right? I'm never not going to do a Miami show. I want to do stuff in addition to doing the Miami show. Maybe bringing some of that Miami onto national, which is what I feel I've been doing the last few days, and I certainly have not been hiding my fandom for the Miami sports teams. Talked about Inter Miami and Messi. Talked plenty of Dolphins, because I mean, if you know the way ESPN is these days, I mean, it's so much football. Like the shows that I've done the last 4 days on ESPN Radio, I would say 95% NFL. So much football, but I'm repping the Dolphins, even rep the Heat a little bit, because we talked about Harden, but I'll throw the Damian Lillard stuff in there. So repping Miami 305 hard on ESPN Radio the last few days. I'm on again, filling in for Canty and Carlin on Friday, 3 to 7 p.m. And then we're back doing primetime this weekend. Saturday night and Sunday late afternoon, I'll be hosting primetime on ESPN Radio. So I love it that you guys are hanging out with me, and I like that we get to take some of us. You guys are part of it. I like that we get to take some of what we do here, ZASLOW Show 2.0, and put it out there on a national stage. And luckily, it could be a little bit jarring for some of the hosts and certainly the program directors there at ESPN Radio, but to my surprise, a bunch of them, they know who I am. They've known my show. They know the whole deal. So that part's really cool, that I don't need to try and be something that I'm not, and I get to just be me. They know what they're getting when they're scheduling ZASLOW to do ESPN Radio. So that part is awesome. And obviously, a massive thank you to Amber Wilson, who played a very big part in helping bring me on board there. So all of it's really great. I'm really stoked about it. I'm really happy about the whole situation. All right. If you want to get at me, at ZASLOW Show on Twitter, always at ZASLOWJ on Instagram. Now, I'm an influencer on Instagram, but I always have time for my fans. So you want to get at me either way, we can do that. The Marlins win 3-0 last night in San Diego. They're still a game back now in the wild card chase. 6 teams fighting for 3 spots. The Marlins are a game back at number 2 and number 3. So they get a game that they desperately needed last night, winning 3-0. And now 4:10 this afternoon. You may be listening to ZASLOW Show 2.0 right now while you're watching the Marlins game. Like you know the score. You know the Marlins are up 5-0. I don't know about that, all right? I'm in the past. You're listening in the future. But the Marlins, you got Sandy Alcantara on the hill. Look, Sandy, go out there, be an ace. Win the series for the Marlins. Take 2 out of 3. You feel good about that. So all these games are important for the Marlins. We know that. But after winning last night, now you got to win the series in San Diego. So there you have it. Also, another thing. So I've been looking forward to, they have the Untold documentary series, right, on Netflix. And I've been looking forward to this Untold Swamp Kings on the Florida Gators, and specifically on those Urban Meyer Florida Gator teams. Now, I went to the University of Florida. I graduated in 2004. I was there for my junior and senior years. I started at UCF. I did 3 years at UCF, and then I transferred. Oh, ZASLOW, took you 5 years? College is fun. Who doesn't want to spend 5 years in college? I did my final 2 years at University of Florida. I loved it, loved my time there. And so I'm before this era takes place. I'm a couple years before it. But the reason you're going to watch this Untold Swamp Kings about the Florida Gators, whether or not you're a Gator fan, but especially if you're not a Gator fan, what's the reason you would watch this documentary? It would be because you want to get to the bottom of the scandals. You want to hear about all the extracurricular stuff that took place. All the characters they had on those teams, a bunch of them bad dudes. Some of them murderers. Not good guys. That's the stuff that you want. How did that mix in? What did Urban Meyer allow? What did Tim Tebow know? How did he keep all of it together? That's the kind of stuff that you want with this Untold. I mean, the show is called Untold. You would expect that we're going to get that stuff. And from what I've heard so far, you get none of it. And this documentary is a dud from what I've heard. That is super disappointing. So, for instance, what I'm seeing here, this, my man Ken Levica, he tweeted out, Ken Levica, ESPN 760, 106.3 FM, West Palm. He tweeted out, waste of time. It's not a documentary. It's Gators propaganda. 1 out of 5 stars. That's very disappointing. You see, for someone like Ken, and he probably hates the Gators, but he wants to watch it because when you see Untold Swamp Kings, nice, we're going to get there's going to be some dirt in this. We got to see what's going on here. So there's this tweet from this guy called Jim Weber, all right? And I guess he covers college sports, and he's a TV and podcast producer. And he tweeted out here how disappointing Swamp Kings is. And he gave a short list of things that weren't even mentioned in the documentary. I'm going to give you this list of things that he said weren't even mentioned. I'm not going to watch this documentary now. How can these things not be covered? Here you go. Any mention of Aaron Hernandez? What? Besides Tebow taking blame for their 07 bar fight. So let's stop right there. How can you have a documentary, A, on the Gators, that time period, and B, called Untold? Untold. And you're not doing anything on Aaron Hernandez? That's the number one thing that everyone wants to hear about. That's not covered in this documentary called Untold? You got nothing on Aaron Rodgers? That's so disappointing. How can that be? So you have that right there. And then, all right, let's continue on here. Nothing about the Pouncey twins? Cam Newton's stolen laptop. You don't do anything on why Cam Newton got thrown out of school? Percy Harvin attacking the wide receiver coach. Now, maybe they include stuff about Percy Harvin being like a maniac, but maybe they don't have him talk, they didn't talk about him attacking the wide receiver coach specifically, so I'm not going to get crazy about that one. Carlos Dunlap arrested before the 2009 SEC Championship game. How about Shelly Meyer's 911 call and Urban Meyer going to the hospital with chest pains? Pretty famous incident. You got nothing there? The entire 2010 season, including Urban Meyer versus Jeremy Fowler, who's, with ESPN, confrontation at practice. I don't remember that. That sounds juicy as hell. And then Chris Rainey, who, not a good guy. Chris Rainey threatening to kill his girlfriend. That's tough. I'm disappointed, man. That's super. I was looking forward to this documentary. I guess there are probably some Gator fans who love it because I'm sure it seems like they're going to highlight the good stuff. But how are you going to get the not Gator fans? The not Gator fans, they would be tuning into this. They want to hear the, untold stuff. That's a massive letdown if that's the case. So, like I'm saying, I'm not going to watch it, but you know what? I am going to watch it. I'll formulate my own opinion. I am going to watch it. But now I'm going into it with super low expectations. Like, that's really disappointing, man. So, I want to start off there because I want to watch this doc. I want to hear these crazy stories, and it seems like a lot of juicy stuff was left out. How do you not have Aaron Hernandez, a major focal point? Aaron Hernandez, one of the biggest stories, college football, NFL, ever. He was a murderer, convicted, went to prison. I don't want to hear about any overturn. Went to prison, died in prison, suicide, right? Died in prison, but he was like, there was drugs apparently, maybe dealing drugs, maybe killing multiple people, the paranoia, all of it. Like, this was a crazy person who is one of the biggest scandals, if that's the right word to use, in college football / NFL history. And it's not like he was some obscure player in the NFL. He played for the Patriots. He played for the Super Bowl champion Patriots. That's a major letdown. What's not a letdown? If you need homeowners insurance, you go to Brunt Insurance and Financial Services. You're never going to be let down. Matter of fact, your spirits are going to be lifted up because you're not going to believe how affordable homeowners insurance is when you go to Brunt Insurance. Go to bruntinsurance.com or call today, 954-589-2204. And it doesn't matter where you're calling from in Florida. Brunt Insurance was rated top 5 insurance agency in the country, #1 in Florida. They got offices all throughout the state. So whether you're calling all the way up from Pensacola, all the way down to the Keys and beyond, Brunt Insurance, they're going to be able to deliver that comprehensive insurance tailored exactly to your needs. This team over there, completely, they're thorough. They have the expertise. They have the experience to find exactly the right coverage for you. That's the type of atmosphere. That's the type of show Greg Brunt is running at Brunt Insurance. So when you call 954-589-2204, you made the right call. You're going to get affordable care and the best coverage. Hey, maybe you don't just need homeowners insurance. What about your automobile? What about your motorcycle? You need boat insurance. Bruntinsurance.com. When it comes to making this decision, renters insurance, condo insurance, there's so many options out there. It's going to make your head spin. Don't worry. They specialize in making the confusing crystal clear. Call Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance, 954-589-2204, or go to bruntinsurance.com. I also want to tell you guys, tonight, we got Inter Miami. We got Messi. Sit back, relax on your couch. In the ZASLOW Mansion on the family room couch, I'll be sitting there with a Johnny Cuba in my hand, enjoying Lionel Messi and Inter Miami. That's right, Johnny Cuba, official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0. Everybody knows that. Johnny Cuba's got those European roots, but a Caribbean soul. That's why it's perfect for us here in South Florida. A refreshing German lager in a can. You can pick up a 6-pack of Johnny Cuba, your local Sedanos, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. If you don't know where you can pick up a Johnny near you, you send me a message, DM me, slide right in. You tell me what area you're in, and then I'm going to ask my man Juan from Johnny Cuba, and he's going to tell us exactly where you could pick up your own Johnny Cuba. Send me the pictures, send me the messages. I love seeing you guys trying the Johnny Cuba for the very first time. I then put it on my stories. You become famous because I'm an influencer, obviously, and everybody's happy. Now remember, always drink responsibly, and of course, don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. So, like I said, doing so much NFL the last 4 days on ESPN radio. I'm practically an NFL expert at this point. Like, you didn't know that, and I wouldn't expect you to know that, but I'm pretty much an NFL expert at this point. And so one of the big stories, if not the biggest story in the NFL right now, is what's going on with Jonathan Taylor. And the Dolphins talked a lot about this yesterday. The Dolphins are the odds-on betting favorite to land Jonathan Taylor. 2-1 odds right now. So, you know, put down 100, win 200. 2-1 odds, the Dolphins are the team that lands Jonathan Taylor. Now, I gave you the reasons yesterday why I don't see this happening. I think it's a super long shot. Matter of fact, I think he will be traded. I think some team is going to pull the trigger, but it's not going to be the Dolphins. And the reason I say some team is going to pull the trigger is because it's not like Dalvin Cook. There's a 4-year age gap there. And, you know, it's not even like Saquon Barkley. Barkley's a little bit older, I believe, than Taylor. Jonathan Taylor, all-pro, 24 years old, over 5 yards a carry. And also what might help is when he's looking for that extension, he's looking for that new contract, the fact that he sees the landscape, sees what Dalvin Cook couldn't get, sees what Saquon Barkley couldn't get, sees what Josh Jacobs couldn't get. He may be asking now that he sees the landscape, he may actually ask for a little bit less than he initially wanted somewhere else. Not with the Colts. He's super angry at what's going on with the Colts and what Jim Irsay said if they had that running back meeting on Zoom. But I think Taylor, he may ask for a little bit less based on seeing what is, I guess, not out there. And he's so good. I know he's going to start the year probably on PUP. He is traveling with the Colts. He's with the team. But I think there is going to be a team out there that pulls the trigger. It's not going to be the Dolphins, though. And I think, if not the main reason it's not going to be the Dolphins, when are we signing Christian Wilkins to an extension? Now, I don't believe that situation is a problem. I don't believe that situation is going to be a problem. But I am curious. And look, the Xavier Howard thing a few years ago, while he was also holding in, the Xavier Howard situation, that took a little bit of time too. But what is the holdup? Is somebody being unreasonable? Is Christian Wilkins' side, are they being, like, they're going to want the highest paid defensive tackle in NFL history, but, like, do they want double what the previous one was? Are the Dolphins being unrealistic and they're not seeing that they're going to have to make him the highest paid defensive tackle? Because that's business. And they already did that for Xavier Howard, making him the highest paid cornerback. So I don't believe from the Dolphins side of things, I would tend to not believe from the Dolphins side of things that they're handling this business improperly. So I don't know. My guess is it possible that Christian Wilkins is asking for more, for too much, over what the last defensive tackle was paid? Also, I think it becomes crunch time after the third preseason game. So this Saturday, and especially because he hasn't been practicing, Christian Wilkins, he's not going to play in this preseason game this weekend. And then we got 2 weeks until the regular season starts. So it's kind of like a faux deadline, this Saturday's preseason game. And then it's time, you got to get it done. But for me, that's two major reasons. Christian Wilkins needs to be paid long before bringing in Jonathan Taylor and paying him. And Tua Tagovailoa is going to need to get paid. Not before the end of this year. Tua will get paid after this year. But you're not going to be able to pay everyone. And we've already seen the position that you skimp at, it's running back, especially when the running back room is very talented right now, and they just spent a second-round pick on a running back. So they're good, who looks great so far, in Devon Achane. So if the running game is set essentially for the next few years, you can't bring in Jonathan Taylor. I don't think he moves the needle enough for this team. Now, I told you, I think one of the main reasons that you could bring in Jonathan Taylor is it kind of forces the ball into his hand, meaning it forces the ball out of Tua's hands, which you would think is a bad thing, but Tua dropping back to pass a couple times less per game keeps him upright, keeps him healthy. May not be a bad thing. Sorry, I had to take a sip of my vitamin water. But it's not, the offensive line isn't changing. Does Jonathan Taylor come in with, someone who's a better right tackle than Austin Jackson? If that's the case, if it's for someone, Jonathan Taylor and replacing Austin Jackson, does it come with a magic elixir to keep Teron Armstead healthy? Well, if it doesn't come with those two things, I don't see the need to bring in Jonathan Taylor, and I don't see the need to pay Jonathan Taylor. So that's what I got for you there on Jonathan Taylor. But I do think this is a win-win situation for the Colts. I don't even know if the Colts would want to trade Jonathan Taylor. But the Colts could just be like, all right, let him go out there, test the market, and he's going to see no one else wants to pay him. And if no one else wants to pay him, then he's got to come back and play for us. And he's under contract this year, and then we could franchise him for at least one more year. So I think it's a win-win for the Colts. So he's either going to then see no one is willing to pay him. He'll either return to the team, or if he does find a team out there who is willing to pay him, okay, then the Colts can land, hopefully land a couple draft picks for him. Or Jim Irsay, the owner, may say, wow, there was a team who want to pay him? F that. I don't want him to leave. We're not letting them have him. There's another team out there who want to pay him? All right, then we'll match it. That's what we'll give. Now, I don't see that part happening, but those are a couple of options for the Colts, and that's why this is a win-win for Indianapolis. My guess, Jonathan Taylor's not happy, but he's going to see the lay of the land, and that he is not in control and does not have the power. And he is going to be forced, essentially, to go back to Indianapolis. That's my guess is what winds up happening there. Now, I don't know if you heard this. So this is from a couple days ago, actually, if we can get back to the Dolphins. Although we're kind of talking about the Dolphins anyway. This is from a couple days ago. Yesterday, apparently, was new defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. 65th birthday. Good for him. Mike McDaniel was asked about it a couple of days ago. So, and in typical Mike McDaniel fashion, you never know what he's going to say. Here's Mike McDaniel on Vic Fangio turning 65.
It's exciting. I think a 65th birthday, I'm excited. I hope that I will have one because, I'm not sure for all you history buffs, but, Social Security starts at 65, right? Well, that was enacted in the New Deal, I believe, when that was the life expectancy for human beings. So, hey, man, killing it. I'm fired up for him.
Just killing it at 60. He's killing it at 65 years old. So it got me thinking, and you could always tweet to me at ZASLOW Show. You can hit me up on Instagram at ZASLOWJ. Vic Fangio killing it still at 65. Who are some other guys, not just sports, could be any kind of profession, at the top of their game at 65 years old still? You know what? They're still killing it at 65. Who are some dudes who are killing it at 65? And I got a few for you here. Number one, I love movies. You know who's still killing it at over 65? Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson is 71 years old, obviously taken one of the greatest movies of all time. Yes. Taken is one of the greatest movies of all time. Ton of action. He kills everybody. The plot is simple. His daughter gets kidnapped. He tries to find her. He does. He kills everybody along the way. They get home safe and sound. In and out in 90 minutes. I don't have to think about it. The movie's not confusing. There's no plot twist. I don't have to wonder, what side is that guy on? What side is that guy on? Too many movies these days are complicated. I love Christopher Nolan. Oppenheimer, fantastic movie. I saw his movie Tenet. I don't know what the fuck that movie's about. Taken is one of the all-time greatest movies. And Liam Neeson, every movie he comes out with now is some version of Taken. At 71 years old, just like Vic Fangio, Liam Neeson, killing it out there. That's one. I'll tell you who else is still killing it out there. Pat Riley. Everybody knows Pat Riley is out there still killing it. And he's about to get probably his last, whale in Damian Lillard. And we're going to get to that in a moment here. Pat Riley, still killing it. Handsome as ever. 78 years old, Pat Riley out there. He's killing it. You know who else is killing it? I saw him in concert last year. I waited forever to see him in concert. I love him so much. Me and my older son, we went to see Elton John. 76 years old. I know he said that was his farewell tour. We'll see. But at 76 years old, Elton still killing it out there when he plays. I mean, he's not up there dancing around like he used to, but at the piano, the voice, and at the energy, killing it, Elton John. I love you, Elton. I got one more for you here. You know what? I'm going to fudge the game a little bit here because he's not quite 65. He's 64 years old. You know who else is killing it? Sting. And I'm not talking about from the Police. I'm talking about all-time Hall of Fame professional wrestler. That's right. Sting, the icon, the franchise. This weekend, he's obviously wrestling AEW All In Wembley Stadium in London. He's 64 years old, not 65, so he's not quite Vic Fangio, but 64 years old. Sting, he's killing it out there. He's jumping onto tables. He's jumping off the top rope. He hasn't even lost yet in AEW. 64 years old. Now, makes me a little bit nervous. I feel like I'm going to watch Sting die in the ring one day. I hope not. I'm crossing my fingers. That would be terrible. But at 64 years old, not quite Vic Fangio, 65 years old, Sting is out there killing it. So how about that? Vic Fangio killing it at 65 years old, leading that Dolphin defense this year. He's not the only one. Got a bunch of guys who are killing it out there. Hey, if you're in the market for a new car, summer's almost over. Now we're going to have all kinds of fall savings as well. But you're looking for those summer savings, you're trying to take advantage, you're thinking about getting a new ride. Well, I'm sending you to the only car dealership I personally endorse. Yeah, I'm sending you to North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. When you walk into North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, you're going to tell a friendly member of their sales team exactly what you're looking for. And maybe it's something large for the family, an SUV, maybe just a Subaru sedan for your daily commute. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru has the perfect model for you. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru also South Florida's newest and technologically advanced Subaru dealer. And you could shop over 1,000 vehicles from your home, wherever you are right now. Just go to nflsubaru.com. We're talking the Outback, the Crosstrek, the Forester, the Ascent. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, conveniently located on North Andrews Avenue, just north of Cypress Creek Road. It's the building you know and the place to go. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru.